The SoNextYear Studio app up here. I'm just going to show you how it works. So basically what it is, it's a pattern design app. If you just click on to select an image, and these are images that I have in my file. Let's have a look here. These are images that I've generated previously. And here we go. So we've got an image in here. What we need to do now is click Analyze Image. And what it's doing now is generating some words about this. Okay. So now over here, it's given us a description. Let's have a look at the description. So a repeating pattern featuring repeated depictions of a human figure with afro hair. You can have a little look at this. Okay. What it's also done is picked out some keywords, some motifs. It's also picked out the 8 main colors that you can see here. Now, this app is basically about generating new patterns. So if I just click on Seamless Pattern, this is where you get image generations from. It takes about 8 to 10 seconds or so. And what you'll get is a new version completely generated by AI. So again, if we look at this here, we can zoom in and we can have a look at this pattern. Now we can decide whether we like it or not, or we can change it. And the ways that you can change it, I mean, you can look at it in different views here. You can pan around it. Also, you can check the edges. So where it crosses, you can see to make sure that it is actually a seamless pattern. Okay, from here you have a multiple of options. You can go to the studio and you can, let's say, pick a color. You can choose the brush and you might decide to take out sections of an image here. Okay, if you don't like this, we'll take this out here. There we go. Okay, maybe you want to clean it up a little bit. Or maybe there's something that you don't like, or actually, let's have a look here. Let's pick this color here. And let's say we don't like the color in here. We can then just take out the color. Again, you can adjust your brushes. You can play around with these very slightly. And there we go. Okay, I can go here and save it. And again, what it does, it doesn't save it for just that square of the image. It actually takes it away from all those sections here. Now, that's fantastic, okay? But let's say you want to change the colors. You can go into the gradient studio here. And let's say we're going to load a gradient. Now, depending on which tier you're on, you have a range of different gradients that you could use. Let's have a look at this one here. We can load this one here. Okay, and again, you have absolute control over how you want to play around with this. You could add new colors in if you like. And again, we can change these here. Let's change this one to a nice light blue and see what we get out of this. Here we go. Okay, so you have a huge amount of control over how your image is going to work. We can drag this one in here. And let's say we like this one. Now I can analyze and save this to cloud by clicking this button here. And then what I'll do, I'll get out of the studio here. So get out of the studio. Now, I can save this one as well, or I can use a 4K upscaler and save this as well. Now, there's also a texture studio in here, which you can use. And again, depending on your tier level, you can, let's have a little look here. I've created a whole range of different ones. Let's say I'm going to choose random fish scales. Now, if we look at this here, we have a load of fish scales. Let's bring the intensity up. Let's pop it to multiply. But actually, let's bring the scales down onto here now. Okay, let's say apply to design. Okay, so now you have a completely different fabric type or different pattern. And again, this is completely seamless. And let's save this to cloud. How about let's look at this in a mock-up view. Imagine that you wanted to have a look at some different fabrics. Maybe you want to see it as wallpaper or a jacket. Here we go here. Now, in this studio, we can play around with the scale. We can rotate it. We've got perspective options here. We can tilt the fabric depending on it. And then you can lock these if you like. Again, bring out the lightness or the darkness, just depending on how you'd like it. Whether you want it a flat pattern or you want to add the shadows in from the mock-up. And again, you've got a warp tool here. And you've also got a temperature that you can play around with here. Just a slight adjustment of control. And what we're going to do is go back here now and say we like that. Now you can export this or you can export at all 8. let's have a look at as a bedding sheet. Again, we can play around with the scale on here. We can go into slot 3, slot 4. We can play around with this on here. Okay, and this is basically how it works. And this is just a basic standard way of doing it. Now I can export these to cloud. Let's have a look at what's happening here. While it's doing that, that's absolutely fine. We're going to run this through. And what it does, it takes a couple of screenshots. Okay, so these are mockups. And there is probably about 20 mockups that are set up in the app itself. Now, depending on what tier you are using, then you can use these. Okay, so here we go. And there we go. So we've got a nice little variety here. Now, this specific bar here is not for everybody at the moment. This is generally for my website, so I can push these directly to my website. But we'll use this for a customer showcase at some point, probably in phase 2, which will probably be coming in a month or so's time. Okay, so we've got these here, right, and then we'll close this down. Now, that's fantastic. We started off with one image. We've analyzed the image. We've got some marketing blurb based on this. We've picked out some colors. We've got a background that we've chosen. You can also play around with the AI style. We've got a whole range of AI styles. You can play around with the layout on here. You can play around with the types of format. And then also you can decide whether you want an all-over print, high detail, whether you want to use negative prompts in here. You can change and delete any of this wording if you like. You can change the keywords or motifs to create entirely your own design. Okay, now where do we find these? We can go to history here. Okay, so let's have a little look at this here. And let's say we've got the mockups here. But let's say you want to share your post. You know, you've created some really nice fabrics. Let's go to share post. Again, I can put it onto Instagram. I can download it, put it onto my Facebook, put it onto my TikTok. Or I can actually copy these. It's given me a title. It's given me a description. It's given me SEO tags, which I can then convert into hashtags if I wish to put it on something else as well. Okay, so this is all built into the app. Again, you've got master copies here. I can download and use for something and other things as well. Okay, so let's just shut that down there. Okay, or we can get mockups. And if I do this now, it will download all 8 of these for me that I can use on my social media. Okay, so that's basically how the app works. And again, we can look at a range of different items here and here, the reference images that I've used or shareable ones that I've created myself. Okay, so that's basically the app as it goes.
Thanks for taking the time to watch. We are launching on June 14th. First 100 customers get 50% off for the first month.